Artist Journal, September 14th, 2022, Berlin. My name is Adrian Pocobelli, and I welcome you back. Always back. Let's see. Let us see. So, thanks again. More nice comments. Even Xerox was weighing in. And it's great. I mean, I feel like I'm kind of the guy that showed up to the party 2 hours too late, and now I'm trying to tell everybody what to think about the party and what's going on. So, anyway, I really appreciate it. And the numbers are doing this channel is going swimmingly. It's just going kind of nicely, and I just like the small organic growth that continues. And actually, speaking of growth, we have an event. There is an event that I'm going to attend today by Art to Act NFT London. These guys are prepared. So they're taking this event seriously. So it's probably something you want to check out. There are some awesome people involved here. Mikey Wilson, Rex Flexosaurus, Saucebook, Underground NFT, Purple Drank, Museum of Crypto Art, Joe Rogan's dad, and I guess Pocobelli's in there, which is hilarious, and Blue 7. So anyways, how art meets collectors should be a great discussion. It's today at 5 p.m. Berlin time. So that would be 11 a.m. New York, Toronto time, Eastern Standard Time. So calibrate yourselves accordingly. Just wanted to let everybody know. So that is exciting. So very cool work here, which I missed. By Dan Control, DANCTRL. I assume I'm pronouncing that right. It's always a challenge here. Message me if I get it wrong. Really awesome Game Boy. I think this is Game Boy Advance SP. How long have I not used it? How long I haven't played with it. So some poetry there from Dan Control too. You can buy this for 2 Tezos. I saw this on Twitter yesterday. I thought, how did I miss this? Because I was following this guy. Pretty sure I follow this guy. If not, I need to follow. That's why I missed it. Because he put out also this awesome work of the lighter, which was a head turner a couple of weeks ago, and also still available for 4 Tezos. I mean, it reminds me, I think I brought it up here, of Mel Ramos, the famous pop artist. I mean, he's not, I guess you'd call him like pretty famous. I mean, he's not a household name necessarily like Warhol, but he's pretty famous, and it's he's part of that pop art canon. And you see the airbrush style even here in the shadow, and his thing was sort of these nudes and consumer items, which were often kind of phallic in nature. We can go back to, you see the cigar here. Now, I just see it in the style of Dan Control, and look at the color and everything. A lot of creativity actually in the color. So another really nice execution there. I mean, you can tell Dan is experimenting with different stuff here, because you go back to the lighter. Yeah, that was just a couple of weeks ago. You see kind of mixed results that got the coffee, but it's actually worth selling for more. So again, the chair was really interesting. I was thinking of picking this one up. So anyway, kind of a very interesting kind of artist to just, again, this piece just, I love. So there is that. What else do we got on the menu here? I actually did this episode and I finished it, and then I went to hit stop record, and then it's like start recording. Like it wasn't recording. so I'm a little more prepared, actually, hilariously. So anyways, I decided it's more important for me in my head to show up than frankly even to put out a good episode. So let's see if that continues. But it's sort of like, as I was saying in the last episode that wasn't recorded, do not wait for inspiration. Like, in a sense, I assume people in this scene already know that. They're quite productive, but, the amateur artist, and we've all been there. I've been there. will wait to be inspired to do their work. And really, the professional artist treats it like a 9 to 5. And you just show up, and you can't worry about, in a sense, what's going to come out or not. And if you do it enough, and if you're kind of, that determined and that obsessed about it, you're probably going to turn out some pretty good work over time. So it really is about showing up. This whole idea of, waiting for inspiration is kind of a terrible idea, in my opinion. I mean, you may feel different and it might work for you. But, all these guys who are kind of at the top of the scene for the most part, like a Jeff Koons or, and I'm ambivalent. I don't hate Jeff Koons like a lot of people do, but I don't love him either. I think he's interesting and quite smart and surprisingly humble. A lot of people might debate me on that. Anyway, I don't want to get lost in the weeds here, but it's just important for me to show up to this thing. So here I am again. So couple of works, I kind of got to go back here because what I originally wanted to show was this awesome dollar bill. Remember WOC or WOC from the September 11th works a couple of days ago? I really like this work, this $1 bill. That's just like, sometimes a work just hits, and this is what happens when you go to the studio or wherever your studio is. A lot of us are digital, so I joke with people, my studio is sometimes like a terrace on a Starbucks coffee shop or nice coffee shop because I work on my phone. But sometimes works just hit, and this work just hit. Just like that Game Boy work just hit, that lighter just hit, this work just hit. And it is a digital work. Again, I'm tempted to think like there's like a Gaussian blur tool being used here. I mean, maybe it's not that simple. There's probably more going on. But sometimes like this is just a poetic rendition of the dollar, which we often see in kind of the crypto Twitter NFT scene, these kind of commentaries on the dollar. And I thought this was a particularly good one. If you want to buy it, you have to put an offer in because it was sent, I think, to previous collectors. So that's, yeah. So I'd love to pick up a copy of this, but let's see. I think it'd go great in the collection. But before we forget, so this was another work by Walk. Just look at his portfolio. So you see a lot of this kind of blur, for lack of better, kind of noisy blur. I saw this work and I thought, and I was actually looking for it. It's good we're re-recording this or recording for the first time because I actually took a minute to find what I was looking for here. An allegory with Venus and Cupid by Bronzino. And so you'll see like kind of a cool take on that. I'm sure this is that. I recognize the color. You can see the composition. Move my cursor here. So just some more interesting work by WOC, who just continues to get attention here, to turn my head. Again, that dollar bill is fabulous. I thought this was a really great work that I had missed as well by Wasteman Goldminovich, The Failed Artist Self-Portrait. So a brutal rendition of The Failed Artist, and I just thought this was kind of hilarious. Pretty brutal too if we look at the hamburger and what else is here. Lying basically in an alley, looks like someone tattooed on him. I've heard a story in Berlin of people who no longer on the street, but who were tattooed when they're like passed out, like pretty brutal. So anyways, so here is The Failed Artist. Buy for 95. I was looking, Diego just sold one for 12. Diego Barrow, who's doing some nice work, who we will return to in a future episode. You buy this for a Tezos 20. He did a nice 10x on it. And now if you want to buy it on the market without making offers, you got to pay 95. Again, one of my favorite works by Wasteman Goldminovich, a nice one. Francois Gamma just put out this work this morning, which I thought was kind of interesting. You might remember him from the abstract pixel work that we're looking at. To me, I don't know if this is an actual play on Vesuvian Man by Leonardo, but it kind of feels like it. Interesting original take. Even if it's not, it's still interesting, right? So just a kind of another interesting work by Françoise Gamma, who just continues to put out work. These were all sent to Jeannot Lapin Gallery, who I've never heard of. Actually, Montreal-based contemporary art gallery representing artists, curating innovative exhibits, and offering an artist residency program with our 14 studios. Well, if you guys want to go to Montreal, you might be able to set something up with these guys. So yeah, so interesting. So put out on Versum. Maybe they will put it for sale. I used to live in Montreal for 8 years, by the way. That was quite a while ago. So I was looking at this. Strange Thing sent me, he said, look at these sales that are going on this Thug Lord, and he's absolutely right. Look, you have to spend 10 Tezos now to buy this, and it's easy to, this is an edition of 1,000, okay? And the sales, if we look, did I bring them up here? Let's just reload for the latest. Yeah, there's been more sales since. So, okay, so 650 is the latest. 610, these sold for 1 Tezos before, a few days ago, really. 9, 6, so 13, 12, edition of 1,000. So the demand continues. This work, we were talking about some works just hit. This work just hit. That's almost, I think that's the name of this episode. Some works just hit, because that's what we're seeing here. We saw it with a dollar bill. We saw it with the lighter and the Game Boy. They're just hitting. And so interesting. I mean, to me, that says there's a little bit of depth here in the collector's market on Tezos. If you have 1,000, edition of 1,000, making this many sales on the secondary for this high, it shows, again, this work just hit. Now, I went through the owners. There is someone that owns 100. Some people own 21. So it is also part of the speculation. A lot of people own more than one. So that's also to be kept in mind. So there is a kind of I don't want to say an artificial reduction of supply, but there are people that own just a lot. Look at that. Decentrals owns 100. Now, I'm ambivalent on whether this is good or bad, by the way. I think it's great for the artist. I mean, Strange Thing picks up 100 Tezos from it. Like, it's a free market, and it's probably best that way. And it's all transparent, so everybody knows who's buying this. I mean, maybe you put an offer in, like, let's look at the offers. Like for 6, you can't, these guys are waiting. Oh, is that right? Yeah. These guys are waiting to pick it up for 6. So that's a 6X in a few days here. This came out, September 4th. So, and it's selling, again, like you see the power of art when it hits. These are like 10X, 12X in certain cases, 13X. But be aware, there are people with 100 of these, but probably a great speculation. 49, but that's vending NFTs, so they probably put it in their vending machine. I assume that's, so again, you can't be judgmental on these things, but all to say, you should be checking this stuff, just so you know what's going on, so you're aware. And a very cool work, all-time high for Strange Thing at 356 Tezos for this work with the McDonald's, eating McDonald's. And it's hilarious, these huge fries. I think it's like, you see the hand and the fries. I almost expect like a 6th finger here. So anyways, cool work. He's going to town on the logos here. So he's taking no prisoners on the fair use copyright laws. And we can go deeper into copyright, actually. Maybe because I've actually consulted with a copyright lawyer here in Germany. And so I can share, because for my Screen Memory series, I use, images that are taken from the history of art, but I transform them. So anyways, we'll go into that maybe tomorrow or the day after at some point, because there's some actually very interesting things to know. And I'm not a lawyer, but just I'll tell you what I think I know. And so that's useful. So congratulations to Strange Thing on the latest sale. So continuing to do fabulous. More AI works here, I think. I mean, Eddie Tree doesn't say it, but I look at this and I go, this looks like a really nice impressionist work that I've never seen before. An interesting doubling is going on. I mean, we have two suns and almost at the same distance apart, we see these two people, but slightly different. So it's tempting to think there's a bit of I'm really tempted to think this is AI, but I do not know. Again, it would be nice to know. So that is not Eddie Tree's price here of 250. He's selling them pretty cheap at $5 for one of one. And Creators Gallery goes, thank you very much. That'll be $250 if anybody wants to buy it from me. Another one here. So it's turned into a nice little business for Eddie Tree. Again, this looks like a Monet sky here, but the landscape frankly looks more like a Pissarro who had smaller brush strokes, where the sky is, I'd say clearly a Monet, or maybe, what was the name of the English sounding guy? I can't remember. But anyway, this looks like a combination of Impressionist paintings. So again, but if you didn't know about AI and you just saw this and just saw it, you'd go, okay, that's pretty impressive. Impressionist works that you've never seen before. At least I've never seen it. Again, this looks like a AI-influenced work as well with Hannibal, Cash Grab. Again, with that German expressionist sort of look. So just doing a little AI update here. Nice. The thing is a nice composition. I mean, one of the nicer paintings I've ever seen of the Joker. Original. So that's why it's tempting. It's almost a little too good is the thing. The composition, and there are maybe issues with the mouth here I was noticing and whatever, and maybe again that's just part of the charm, but again tempting to think this is AI. Buy for $5. What else here? So this is just another thing about these larger editions that are doing quite well. I mean, this is almost sold out, so this isn't on secondary. This came out a week ago, so it's doing okay for Adelia. It's a collaboration with Jay Byrne and some music. Let me just... Thoughts, she's in my brain, she's in my heart. Let's just do that. So, pretty hilarious. So just kind of interesting, this combination of audio in the NFT or digital art space. Like you can do this technically, I guess, in the physical arts world by putting a speaker underneath. But it's not really a part of the work. If you put it beneath a painting, let's say, it's not really a part of the work in the same way that this audio is a part of this work, like Love by Adelia and Jayburn. And again, they're almost sold out of that. Actually, let me just show you. So they're selling quite well at 9 Tezos, okay? Another large edition by Louis Osborne, edition of 50, which is selling for 20. Edition of 40, selling for 17. This is a week ago. Edition of 50, selling for $12.50. Thank you, IC Jules, again, for sending this to me. Very nice gift. I think it's IC Jules. So all to say, these large editions are doing quite well. I was also looking at Louis Osborne's just kind of latest sales, just for a very quick update on that. And he's doing, again, this balloon series, here it is, was basically sold in the last 2 days. It basically all went for between 60 and 62 here. He accepted offers. I think he's accepting offers above 60 and maybe did it randomly, I think is what happened. Now it's 80. So it's actually not too much more than those offers, so that's kind of interesting. This was sent to me, and I wouldn't normally kind of profile works that are sent to me, but I actually kind of like this piece. I do like this piece. Thank you, TOT, for sending it. That's why I'm showing it. And I just kind of like this idea of charts as art. Particularly now as we are in this kind of, I guess we're coming off of this historic speculative mania that probably really got going in March 2020, and all those stimulus checks where everybody was bored and just put their money in the market. or crypto, and did insane. So now we're feeling the hangover of all that. So just a cool work. So thanks TOT for sending me that. Very just interesting and cool. Made a sale to a significant player here. Fort Gallery NFT has acquired a Pocobelli, and they're putting a nice hefty price tag on it. This coach ad, a screenshot just from the sketchbook here. So thank you to Fort Gallery NFT for adding that to your collection. Again, just very fun, and it's great to be a part of it. Thank you. So yeah, I was selling it nice and cheap, but can't get it cheap anymore. 1,200 Tezos from Fort Gallery NFT. So other than that, let's leave it there. Thank you for joining me once again. Maybe I'll see some of you later on Twitter Spaces, and until next time, take care.